When unit planning, it is important to design for an alignment between the standards, the explanation of the anchoring phenomenon, and the purposeful selection of activities. This triangle is key to setting students up for having the experiences and evidence they need to develop their own explanations of the unit phenomenon and related phenomena. Considering how each activity will help students explain the phenomenon, how the phenomenon is connected to the standards, and how the standards and activities are related, are foundational pieces to designing a strong unit. The summary table is a tool used with students to help them summarize their learning and see connections between activities and the phenomenon. However, the summary table is also a helpful unit planning tool for teachers. It has spaces for the name of the activity, what students would likely observe and learn during that activity, and how the activity connects to and helps explain part of the anchoring phenomenon, as well as room for connections with the standards. This table captures the relationships between standards, the phenomenon, and the selection of activities. Next, Jennifer, an upper elementary science teacher, explains how she uses the summary table as a planning tool.
I use the summary table, specifically the connection to the phenomenon, what I call the so what, to really keep me on track and help keep us in track in general. Because kids will bring up all these great ideas and all these different parts, and they want to know more about this and this and this, but really, like, the big goals, the standards and the big goals that I want them to be able to explain is really where I'll let them keep going. And if we start to go too far this way, or if we start focusing too much on one idea, bring it back somehow, connect it back to what we're doing.
As the unit gets underway, students' ideas become part of the planning triangle and influence lesson planning decisions. Here, students' questions and hypotheses make Jennifer rethink and add to her original explanation of the anchoring phenomenon.
I also learned that I learn more and have to do more research based on the ideas that students are coming up with throughout the unit. I remember my first year, students were in the microworlds unit focusing on white blood cells because they had seen some Magic School Bus where white blood cells are the ones who go to war and fight away all the bad stuff in the body. And so I had to take a step back and really go dig into the content myself to be able to help guide them.
Students' ideas and questions should inform changes to pre-planned activities. Activities do not only follow what students want to pursue, but strike a balance between targeting key ideas from the phenomenon explanation and using the standards to help students make progress on their ideas. Here, Jennifer explains how she frames activities to students as a way to continue their work on revising their thinking about the anchoring phenomenon.
It has to do with what students are bringing to the table, what their ideas are. When I'm doing these summary tables, I'll have a good collection of some ideas that students already have brought to the table, and I'll use those kind of as leverage to introduce, like, here's some things you thought before. Now, based off this, what we were hearing yesterday, what we did yesterday, do we still think this is true? I don't know. Let's do this activity. So it pulls things together. I think it keeps students focused on trying to figure out what they're trying to solve, what they're trying to explain.
When initially planning for a unit, it is important to make sure the standards, the phenomenon explanation, and the list of possible activities are tightly connected. Once the unit is underway, changes can be made based on students' ideas and questions. Through activities, students should have opportunities to test and revise their hypotheses about the anchoring phenomenon to construct an explanation about what likely caused the phenomenon to happen.